Hi, I'm here telling my story about my experience with a malignant narcissist, covert narcissist. My ex-husband was extremely malignant, and today's story is about how I ended up with supervised visitation. I'm going to tell you how I ended up with supervised visitation because in my next post I want to tell you about supervised visitation and what's broken with it, because the system, it does not help parents stay connected to their children. So I divorced my covert malignant narcissist husband, and I were divorced in February. He spent $100,000 on a lawyer. I spent $30,000. So our divorce cost $130,000. And the malignant narcissist, what they will do is they will throw everything at you in court. They're going to take up all your time. They're going to take up all your money, and they're going to take up all your energy, so that you're not capable of taking care of yourself. And this was a punishment for leaving him. I spent $15,000 on a lawyer to prepare a separation agreement, which he agreed to negotiate. He got the separation agreement. He refused to negotiate. He responded by filing for divorce that November. As soon as he could file, he filed. And he threw everything at me. He didn't just want custody of our daughter. He claimed that I was a drunk mom, which I was not. He wanted the house that was joint marital property. He wanted my retirement, his retirement. He wanted me to pay for the loans that we got out on the house, and he wanted me to pay for his marital credit card debt from his first two wives. He also wanted me to pay child support. So he asked for everything. In this process, what he had done is he had separated me from my support systems. I was worn down, I was beat down, I had low self-esteem, I had no friends, and I was scared to have friends because people were telling him what I was doing, and it was coming back to me through him, and that is an extremely scary thing to have happen. So I didn't trust anybody, and I refused to make new friends until this process was over. Flying monkeys are people who will report back to the narcissist. And they're on the narcissist side, but they pretend like they're your friend. And I had a lot of people pretending like they were my friend, but they really weren't. He also began setting me up when he realized I was trying to leave. And when he would set me up to get angry, because he started doing this thing where he wasn't going to hit me, and he wasn't going to threaten to hit me because he knew that he was in the wrong. What he was going to do, he figured out the first time that I got irate because he was acting like a complete total jerk, an asshole. He was being an asshole. And so he called the police on me, and he had me committed. And I don't know what he told them. I don't know what he said to them. And so that was a very scary thing. And I almost left him then. I made him promise to go to therapy with me, which he did, but we went through the Air Force, and I didn't realize at that time. So they convinced me to stay, and they convinced me to not complain about anything he was doing. And so I did sabotage myself. I was starting to get anxiety. My daughter was high need. Anyhow, I'll tell those stories later. They're long stories, and I do want everybody to hear how narcissists pretend they're like Prince Charming, but they're really dickheads. And they do some really dickish things. So we'll talk about that later. And so the judge at the end granted him almost nothing. He also, so those flying monkeys, those friends that I thought were my friends that weren't really my friends, they were, he had taken them over by spreading rumors behind my back. And the setup with police, like he had police come and testify against me, and he had those friends come testify against me about things that he said, not about things that happened. And so the judge granted him almost nothing, but she gave him supervised visitation pending an assessment, and that assessment turned out to be it took me 6 months to complete the 12 classes that they wanted me to complete. And I was beat down. I had low self-esteem. I didn't even know if I could work. At that point, I had given up my car, and I still don't want to drive. Driving makes me very anxious. So what I didn't realize was that had PTSD and anxiety and depression and a lot of other health problems because of that PTSD. And so I eventually got that treated, which I will also talk about. And so I just wanted to let you guys know the overwhelming way that the narcissist can use the Prince Charmings, who are dicks, who turn out to be malignant, how they can really use the court system to further abuse. And so I'll talk more about each of those things later, but I wanted to, before I talk about supervised visitation, I wanted to post something that mentioned how I got here. And we'll talk about each of these things in detail. But anyway, till next time, goodbye.